Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are here in the living room. I thought we could give you a quick progress update on what we've got going on here in the living room and talk about what we're going to be working on this week as it relates to this room and specifically the floor. So getting close to getting some flooring down in here, so we're pretty excited about that. But unfortunately still quite a bit to do to get there, but maybe flip you around here. So we got this room all cleared out. This is the living room. Quickly, just to show you something kind of fun, we've got all the drywall here done and texture. We've got these walls painted. We got the ceiling painted. We got the beam all cut in, and this beam as well. Everything's cut in. I got to get some outlets in our little outlet spots. I've got this window to trim out. Jody's anxious for me to get that done. And of course over here in the fireplace, we still got a lot of work to do to get that done. But that'll be coming up pretty quick. We're going to be doing stucco on the whole thing, kind of a white stucco. We rebuilt everything on this thing. It needed a lot of concrete and a lot of restructuring, but we got it nice and solid and just the way it should. We got to get the hearth sorted out. We're putting in soapstone lintels here to cover up that steel lintel that's there currently, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's get back to the floor. Pretty much got everything repaired. This is all 2x6 T&G tongue and groove subfloor, and we've got all the old chipboard that was up. This floor had chipboard and VCT tile, which is a vinyl composite tile. And we got all that chipped up, which was a nightmare, but it's all gone and at the dump now. So it's time to get this ready for hardwoods. On the last video, we showed the repair of this area here. This was all chunked up and missing in this threshold area. This is all new, brand new lumber through here. This is all new 2x6 lumber through here. There was maybe a little bit of joist work we had to do repair over there. I could show some pictures of that. And this section was already done by some previous owner. I've got one or two little spots. I've got a board here that we don't know if that's old bug damage or somebody just went to town on it with something, but that board's going to get cut out and replaced today, or at least within the next day or two. And there might be one or two other little spots where maybe we want to address. But for the most part, the rest of this subfloor, the original 2x6 subfloor, is nice and solid and ready to roll. And in all the areas that needed some attention, we've given it the attention. And it's now ready to put down some 3/4 inch tongue and groove plywood subfloor, which we've got 9 sheets sitting here. So these 9 sheets, buried behind tools and scaffolding and whatnot, will be relocated into this living room and sheathed over this existing tongue and groove to bring it up to the height of this old oak flooring that's here, and to bring it up to the height of the entry flooring that we've already done with the oak engineered hardwood flooring that we've already finished in here, and also the powder room. So this flooring rolls to this entry, and now it needs to go here. So we got to get that 3/4 inch down, and then also any shimming or fine tuning that we have to do to get a nice, smooth, even transition. And the hardwoods go down nice and flat and look perfect. And so that's where we're at. Before I do that, I need to make a special fun little trip down into the crawl space and do a little bit of measurement, and then go down there and do a little bit of restructuring down there. I mentioned last week when we were repairing the video where we repaired this section over here that there's a 14-foot span across this room, and I want to, there is some support wall here and here, but over in this section from here out to the sunroom, there's not really any beam through the center, and there's a little bit of a swag in this floor. So we want to kind of push that up a little bit with the jack, and then run a beam right through here, and then put some post and pier blocks underneath that so that it is super strong and we don't get any flexation or deflection or whatever the word is through the middle of the room. And that's just going to be nice and solid for our hardwood install. But for today, the main thing we're going to do is get all these nails pulled. When they put down tar paper on all this old subfloor with like these big roofing nails, and some places it's even 2 layers thick. This floor is littered with that, and so we need to go around, and since we're going to be putting down new subfloor here in that 3/4 inch tongue and groove plywood, we don't want to be laying that down on a bunch of uneven nail heads with tar paper under them. So we don't really have any choice except for get down on the old hands and knees, crawl around with some crowbars and nail pullers and pull all those up. So we're going to get started on getting all those nails up out of this floor. Then we can talk about doing some tar paper, some felt down on this floor as a vapor barrier, and then we can get down to some hardwood installs, which is the fun part. So that's what we're working on today. Since these roofing nails are so flat, a lot of them are so close to the floor, it's kind of hard to get underneath them. So I took this bar and I sharpened it up really good. Don't cut yourself, babe.
I won't.
And then so that it can get a lot lower onto those things. And then using maybe a rubber mallet instead of a regular hammer, so it's not so hard on the ears. Tap underneath there, get it mostly up.
Cool.
You can't get it up all the way. Scrape off that tar paper. And of course I'll get a different scraper tool so we can come through and scrape off all this mud.
Yeah.
This drywall mud.
Yeah. So this is going to be a fun day.
This is going to be a very fun day.
You told me.
And if you see, when you see nails like this one here,
Yeah.
see how it hits the hammer?
Yes.
That's actually that's not a roofing nail holding down tar paper. That's actually a nail holding this
Yeah.
subfloor board down to the joist.
Yeah.
We want to get those flat too, but those, we'll have to flatten those out just by smacking them.
Okay.
So, getting mostly flat
Yeah.
anyway. Well, it's time for me to go under the house, down into the crawl space, and see what's going on with that area. I want to put that beam. I got some cleanup to do. Those people that owned the house sometime in the past put up a bunch of wires on the bottom of joists with this thin little insulation. I got a lot of cleanup to do down there to even make it ready to do this. I hate going down there, probably more than I hate going up in the attic, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get it done. I got my mask, got my gloves, got my beanie, protect me from the spider webs. I got my little tub to put the garbage in. I got my garbage bag and my little shop light. So earlier this year we got this done. We put in these new windows. Those are brand new windows and trim and new siding. Had the Home Depot house wrap on it for a few years. And when we did that, we also, Jody put her little smear coat on this. It was cinder block, and she used that Tough 2 non-cement. It's a water-based formula foundation coating. So that looks really nice. And I took the time to build this little door out of some scrap cedar I had. to go down into the crawl space. Before this was for the last few years, it's just been a big odd shaped piece of plywood screwed into the wall there. And so I made this nice little door. There you have it. A lot of icky stuff laying down there from all the work we've done on the flooring. So we'll go down in there, I'll set up the tripod, and you can get a gander at this. But before we do, let's just run over real quick and look at the river, the creek rather. We've gotten a few really good days of rain. And anyway, thought that'd be nice just to take a quick peek at the creek. See what's going on there. Alrighty, back to the fun stuff. So you can see all this nasty insulation. I'm not really working in this section right now. I'm actually going to be further back where I want to set that beam, but we'll go crawling back in there and see what we see. These wires, they put all these wires up here and they pounded nails in on the bottom of the joist about halfway in, which means you catch yourself on them and your shirt on them or jacket on them all the time. Not a very good way to hold insulation up. So I'm going to pull all these wires, get all this out of here. I've got to pull down all this icky insulation. This is the area, right here is where that sunroom starts. And this is all the living room back, all the way back there. And these are the joists that these are all 2x10s. And these are the ones that I wanted to put a beam under this way with posts going down to pier blocks down here. I'll dig some holes and pack some gravel in so that we can make this floor a little bit stronger, kind of split in the middle so that we're not spanning the full 14 feet. So that's the plan. Rip down some nails and some insulation, bag that up, kind of clean up all that. I got a bunch of wood chunks in here, down here that kind of fell down here when we were cutting out those floor sections. So get this stuff out of here. I better put my mask back on. It's gonna be a blast. Hey everybody, we're back to have a little more fun in the crawl space. What we're going to be working on here today is getting the rest of this insulation down. I got a PVC pipe over there I can cut out, get the rest of this wire and stuff done. cleaned up so that we can start putting in our beams to support everything and our posts.
Fun.
I'll give you this.
Okay.
You can use that for grabbing things like that.
Pulling them?
That's not the right tool. I got this too.
No, that works. I think
And I got this. We could just be cutting these wires up.
okay. I can do that.
And I'll start gathering up. I probably should put my glasses on.
Yeah,
I almost
I don't
got
want
bunked
you
in
to
the eye
get-
again. We've been down there a couple hours and it's pretty nasty. We're cutting the paper off the bottom of all the joists from their old vapor barrier from the insulation because we want to spray that whole underfloor with boracare for any possible dry rot, fungus or spores, and any old insect damage, and to prevent any future insect damage. So we're going to be spraying that whole underfloor just as a preventative, and because there's a couple spots it looks like maybe back in the day some bugs were eating at it. She's down there vacuuming right now. Frankly, I had to get out of there. It's so uneven down there, even with knee pads. It's very, very hard on the knees. It's uneven, there's holes, there's weird rocks. So I had to get a breather. But I wanted to tell you guys about something. This is early December. I don't know if you've been seeing it on the news, but there's what they call this atmospheric river, which to me just means a lot of rain, but it's called an atmospheric river that's coming out over the Pacific, hitting us here in Oregon and Washington, and really, really hard. The last 2 or 3 days has been so crazy rainy. And the creek, I showed you guys the creek the other day just because it was, moving really nice and looked really good. It's almost violent right now. I'm going to take you over there and give you a shot of it. Yeah, we've gotten like 3 or 4 inches of rain over the last couple days. And this creek is fed by about 200 tributaries. So once it starts catching up, it really fills up quick, but it's pretty wild. It looks more like a Russian river than a creek. But let me flip you around. Yeah, so you can see we've got some a bunch of lumber down here. We've been seeing practically whole trees coming down here, but definitely a lot of big pieces. And we're not in a floodplain. Like, the river is still like 15 feet below our cliff here. So we've lived here for 6 years, I think. We bought the place like 6 years ago, so it's never flooded here. It doesn't get this high, but boy, oh boy. And you can see the waterfall up there is pretty much edge to edge all the way across. I don't know how well that's showing up with the camera's all dirty and wet, but yeah, you can kind of see that. The rapids that you normally see through here, where it's coming over the rocks, is pretty much gone. Everything's almost flat across there. We've got some where the water's hitting this big rock. You can see that. We've got a lot of timbers, woods kind of trapped up in here that is getting pushed into there and it can't get out. Once in a while you'll see a big huge piece break loose. You can see down here there's some big chunks of tree. I'd say that one there's probably 12, 15 feet long, probably at least a couple of feet in diameter. But it's all stuck in this little back eddy. And once the water goes down a foot or two, it'll free up and start flowing down. But it keeps swirling around in here. The little hole right where my finger is pointing, that's kind of our measurement to know how high the water is. It's kind of a diamond-shaped hole. It's always been there. The other day the water was probably 4 or 5 feet below it. Now it's maybe a foot below it. And that's kind of our gauge. We always wonder, how high the water is, but that's kind of how we gauge it. The highest we've ever seen the water since we've lived here, even in the most wettest storm, was the water was just kind of lapping right into that hole. So we're only about maybe a foot lower than we've been at the maximum I've ever seen it. But yeah, I'll just pan you down here. There goes a chunk of wood floating down. So bring your kayaks. So Jody and I came out of the crawl space hole. Called it a day on that. We got a lot done. But one thing we thought we'd do is walk down the trail by the house and show you guys the creek and the waterfall down there. So there's the Waterfront Wreck. There's the house. And obviously this is the creek. This is because of the storm, this atmospheric river coming in on the Pacific. Jody's way down there by the waterfall. I'll walk down there, and I'm just using my phone, so I don't have any auto stabilization or anything, but hopefully I'm not too shaky here walking in the mud. Oh yeah, this is a fish ladder for the salmon and steelhead and whatnot. It's way full. It's normally a lot lower than that. It's almost like its own creek right now. And our creek is like a river. Yeah, look at this. Woo! Yeah. Hey, sweetie. How's it looking? Wow, it's full, huh? So yeah, this is not even a quarter mile from the house. Just this little trail. It's normally a lot taller drop than that, but because the water is so high right now, it looks like it's not that much of a drop, but it's sure coming over. Yep, got another full day of rain, and probably going to get a little higher, but like I said, we're not in a floodplain, so I'm not worried about it. It's something to look at, though. And we're going to call it a day, and we'll catch up with you guys later.